Pat Miller, welcome to Passionate Living. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have some wonderful stories for you. One is about a company that I am absolutely in love with. They've been around for 35 years, and they have developed a really cool technology that helps me, I use it personally, to lower anxiety, to help sleep, and to lower pain levels. And it's all natural. And I had never heard of it until a few years ago, and I just want to share this story with you because it's absolutely wonderful. And we also have a fun adventure from our adventure out west to the Natural Products Expo. We always look for fun, crazy, exciting, helpful products, so we'll share some of those with you. And then we have a story about this wonderful soul who was a dear friend, and they just passed, but how they affected their community. It's really inspiring. So thank you so much for tuning in. Buckle your seatbelt and get ready for a magical ride into passionate living. So today on our show, we have an amazing guest, Dr. Ryan Gober. And Ryan, I am so happy to have you on Passionate Living. I'm excited to hear all about Alpha-Stim. I am a strong believer in the product and everything it does, and I would just love to hear a little background from you. And how does this work? I mean, what does it do and how does it work?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on today too. So, yeah, a little bit of background too is I joined Alpha-Stim a little bit over a year ago now. And so previously before that, I got my PhD in neuroscience, was really interested in non-pharmacological solutions for mental health disorders. And yeah, so kind of came here and found Alpha-Stim. And what Alpha-Stim is a non-invasive brain stimulatory device. So that means that we're using a small amount of electricity to modulate neuronal activity within the brain. And if we think about how a lot of our current psychiatric drugs work, we're ultimately using small molecules to change the way that neurons are firing or their electrical properties. So this type of device is just instead kind of skipping that step a little bit. And instead of using a drug or a molecule to alter those activities, it's using a small amount of electrical current delivered through ear clip electrodes to achieve that same kind of symptom relief, if that makes sense.
And I'd never heard of Alpha-Stim. And it's remarkable. There are tons of studies to support that it helps to reduce anxiety, insomnia, and pain.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you said, the device has been around for several decades now. And I think one reason that it's really starting to take off again and starting to really pick up speed with clinical adoption is the fact that neuroscience research has kind of come a long ways. So, a lot of drugs and devices will be clinically effective, and we'll know this for a long period of time, and we'll see the results of it. But then kind of increases in our understanding of neuroscience research have really helped us to understand how this is working now. So it's a little bit of a renaissance now in brain stimulation, and which is helping us. We've been around for a while, and it's kind of helping us get a little bit more front and center in front of patients now.
So Ryan, can you tell me a little bit about how this works?
Yeah, sure. So as we mentioned, it's a non-invasive brain stimulation device. And so what it's doing is it's using ear clip electrodes that you place onto your earlobes. And from there, you turn on the device and it's emitting a very small amount of electrical current or electrical stimulation through these ear clips. And then from there, we're able to relieve symptoms in two main ways. The first way is through interacting with cranial nerves. So within the ear, there's different cranial nerves, including the vestibulocochlear nerve as well as the vagus nerve. So those are two that we're interacting with there. And these nerves project to much deeper subcortical structures within the brain. So even though they're around the ear and just under the skin, we know that they connect deep within the brain as well. And the second part of our mechanism of action, or how the device works, is that we know this electrical stimulation is also able to then make it through the skull and interact with the brain directly. So we know that specifically the temporal lobe is able to receive this stimulation. And this brain region is part of a larger brain network known as the default mode network that's found to be have pathologic signaling in anxiety. So getting the stimulation to the temporal lobe ultimately re-regulates signaling within this functional brain network, which is how we get our symptom relief.
I had a friend of mine over at the house one day, and she was having a full-blown anxiety attack. She said, I have to go. I have to leave now. I'm I'm just having an anxiety attack that happens sometimes. They said, hey, will you just do me a favor? Let's just try something. It stopped midstream, normalized,
Oh,
and
nice.
she ended up going and getting a prescription for Alpha-Stim, because this is a legitimate, get a prescription, use the item properly. And she ended up getting off most of her meds as a result of Alpha-Stim.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a great way to reduce kind of polypharmacy too. So as you said, a lot of patients are on a bunch of different meds all at once. So this is a good option to just kind of reduce the overall medication load. And that's a great point too, is that it's not meant to always be a complete replacement, because especially some patients are still going to need to take some form of meds to get the symptom relief that they need based on their backgrounds and everything. But this is a nice option to help reduce maybe the overall numbers or the dosages of those medications that you're taking. There is an acute acting and rapid component to how quickly the device can work. There was actually a really nice study done in 2022 by an independent research group, and they actually looked at how quickly Alpha-Stim could reduce symptoms of anxiety compared to another very prominent benzodiazepine. And what we saw from that study is that it essentially was able to reduce those symptoms within the same amount of time frame and to the same level as a very potent benzodiazepine. Wow. So there's definitely clinical research to support that observation as well.
As life sometimes takes its own course, helping a dear friend of mine through hospice and a big trip, to travel to see my son over in Thailand. It was like just all a big mesh of everything. And I was going 100 miles an hour and high stress levels. And I just stayed centered through the whole journey of all of these ups and downs and emotions. I just did my Alpha-Stim daily, and I was just centered for all of these big things happening around me so I could show up as my best self.
Oh, nice. That's great to hear. Yeah, it can definitely, it's nice. It's a good travel option too, as you pointed out too. You can bring it, with you when you travel. A lot of people that kind of get anxiety related to traveling.
Tell me about insomnia. How does it help insomnia, and what are the studies that they found with that?
Yeah, so for insomnia, I'll step back a little bit and kind of talk about how we know it's working in anxiety and insomnia both. But there's actually this brain network known as the default mode network, and it's highly active when we're, it's the series of brain regions that are highly active when we're having ruminative thought patterns. So when you're kind of just sitting alone with your thoughts, kind of mulling them over, and you can imagine how that's linked to anxiety too. And we have some very nice study coming from the clinical data with the Alpha-Stim device showing that we're able to break up signaling within that network that's considered pathologic, or you don't want that type of signaling there.
My personal story is with insomnia. I had suffered from insomnia for years, where I would wake up multiple times a night, not be able to fall asleep, wanting to be able to alleviate these symptoms. There was, medicine as well as melatonin and natural sleep remedies, and it just never really had the efficacy or the consistency, and also came with side effects that were not great. And so started to explore Alpha-Stim and have experience with it. And when that took place, I decided to try it for my own insomnia issues, and it was immediate. And the immediate relief of the device to allow me to go to sleep was wild, and also made me a true believer to start to utilize it for just various other things with regards to anxiety and, the back pain that I had. And I found that I was able to use the device consistently without any side effects. And the overall sentiment was that it felt like it alleviated all of these symptoms that I was feeling, but without any of the harsh side effects that any type of pharmaceuticals would have caused. And it was easy. It was really easy to use.
And finally, tell me about pain, because I know there's studies to support that Alpha-Stim actually reduces the levels of pain.
Absolutely. So it actually uses the same type of stimulation that you're using through the ear clips to achieve symptom relief in anxiety and insomnia. But now the other device that we have, the Alpha-Stim M, is also equipped with little electrode probes that are handheld as well as pads.
Right.
So for those that might be familiar with TENS units or transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulators, very similar paradigm, but just using a different frequency and current intensity there. So it's a nice option. It's a little bit more mild, but we're using these probe protocols to try to interact with as many levels of the pain pathway as possible. So if we think about how pain actually gets to the brain, there's many steps in between. So we have a bunch of protocols trying to target on that whole pathway back to the brain.
I think a lot of people don't realize that when you take a pain pill or a medication, it's not stopping the pain in your body, it's stopping the signal of pain in your brain. And again, if you have something that is completely natural from the standpoint, it is putting a small current in there, but nothing that causes any harmful side effects. And it's affecting your brain in a positive way without those side effects of a lot of the drugs.
It's a nice all-around option too, and I think you pointed it out perfectly that we know that the brain plays such a huge role in the painful experience. So ultimately, that pain signal, whether it's pain in your finger or something, it's going to make it all the way back to the brain, and that's going to tell us how we're actually experiencing that painful stimuli and how painful we perceive it to actually be. And so to have a device that can also target comorbid anxiety and insomnia, it's definitely a very versatile tool and can help with some of those longer term outcomes in pain too, which is why we see clinical data showing that we have patients do really well with veterans, for example, with chronic pain.
Nice.
And we see those outcomes that are kind of more durable and longer term too than a lot of the other pain options that are out there today.
Well, a lot of vets, a lot of VAs utilize Alpha-Stim.
Oh yeah, we're heavily used in the veteran population. We have a lot of military patients that use it as well.
Mm-hmm.
We can obviously appreciate there's higher prevalence and rates of anxiety, insomnia, and pain in those patient populations. So there's a huge amount of popularity with those patients, and we see some of our strongest outcomes there too.
Now, what are the studies about pain?
So I think one of our biggest studies in pain was actually done by a VA system or a Veteran Affairs research team back in 2019. And they were actually looking specifically at Alpha-Stim as a possible non-opioid alternative for addressing pain in chronic pain patients within the VA system. So that was a really nice study. We saw significant decreases in pain severity overall, which was largely related to those pain probe treatments. But then we also saw decreases in some of the psychological distortions of pain. And we know that those are so important for determining, especially in chronic pain patients, how they're going to be doing, not even after a single treatment, but several months down the line. So the fact that we were able to decrease outcomes such as pain catastrophizing, the comorbid anxiety associated with it, that was some of our most important findings over the years.
I really enjoy using Alpha-Stim. Just a little bit of background about myself. I've been a twice deployed combat veteran, and upon return, I did notice that I had some anxiety issues, some sleep issues, and really didn't have a way to address that until I ran into one of my great friends from the past who works in the medical device industry with me, and he recommended Alpha-Stim and how I could obtain it through various sources, and I did try it. I was a little apprehensive at first, I will say, but once I tried it for the first time, I was amazed at the quality of sleep I was able to get, and of course, the more you use it, the better it gets. So it's amazing. It's not an addictive thing. It's something that I think you'll really enjoy using frequently.
I want to reiterate that this isn't a product just for individuals who are already suffering from pain, anxiety, or insomnia, but it's a great maintenance product for everyday life. Let's face it, the world right now is a little bit intense, and I think everybody is feeling some level of anxiety or occasionally having trouble sleeping or pain in the body. And something like this is just a great way, like we were talking before, physical health, physical fitness is staying ahead of the curve. You don't wait until you're out of shape to start working out.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's just a great tool to have to pair with what you're already doing. It's like, we can always do more. both mentally and physically, as you pointed out. So, it's nice to have more options in the tool chest to reach into.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate all of your extraordinary input today, and I love options like this for health and wellness, and I'm just so grateful you guys exist, and I'm thankful for you being on the show today. Hi, Megan.
Hi.
Could you tell me a little bit about Buddha Teas? I love Buddha Teas, by the way.
Oh, glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Buddha Teas has been around for about 14 years. We were branded about 10 years ago.
Right.
We have about 130 different teas. 90% of them are certified organic, and we have 9 CBD teas in part of that line.
Wow. And what makes you different from other teas?
We pride ourselves on having pure ingredients, so there's no natural flavors, artificial flavors, or any other fillers in the products. The bulk of our teas are single ingredient herbals.
And what's your favorite tea?
I personally love eucalyptus. It's for me a nostalgic smell. I mean, I love it for the respiratory system, but also just growing up in San Diego, Balboa Park, and having the eucalyptus trees, that's the one for me. Though we have a lot of great ones.
I get the plants from like Trader. I get like the leaves and I put them in the shower and hang them over. I love the smell.
Oh, I should do that. That sounds great.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Norm, I stopped by yesterday and oh my God. First off, I had your gluten-free cheddar cheese snack.
Oh, the pretzels, yeah.
They were to die for.
Yeah, they're my favorite too.
Yeah. Now, you told me about your product, how clean it is. Could you share a little bit about it?
Yeah, so we're a 104-year-old, 6th generation family owned and operated company.
Sixth generation? I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah, since the 1800s.
Wow.
So we started making pretzels in the 1800s, but we incorporated in 1921.
Yeah.
Our pretzels are made the same way we've always made them. 5 simple ingredients, no added sugars.
And who started the company?
William Spaneth was the original start of the company. We still have William Spaneths in the family to this day.
Oh my God, that's great. Yeah.
And the 6th generation now, Justin Spaneth, is really our leader, our visionary. He's had this idea that everybody deserves this pretzel. We should just keep it to ourselves in the Northeast.
Norman, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much for stopping by.
You're welcome. Awesome. How did the company start?
So 20 years ago, it was actually a couple of guys in the UK were looking at launching a new gin brand. And they were tasting different gins and they were thinking about what to do. And they realized that there was nothing delicious to mix the gin with.
Right.
So they kind of pivoted and decided rather than launch another gin brand, why not
start something great to put with gin?
Yeah, exactly.
So what makes you the best?
It's hard to say about all natural because there is stuff like citric acid as a preservative, but it's absolutely no artificial flavors, no artificial sweeteners.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome.
So great to meet you and so great to show me around here.
Thank you.
There are so many people in this world who touch our lives on a daily basis. Sometimes we don't see friends for a year or 2 years, but the impact they make in that short time in life that they're bringing goodness to our path, whatever it may be, can change a whole person's destiny. And today I want to take a moment to pay homage to a dear friend of mine who just passed and just talk a little bit about how just some of his simple truths changed my life and give you a short little glimpse of an amazing soul. Bob has 3 wonderful daughters, Holly, Skylar, and Marley, and also a grandchild, Chloe, and he's just the most amazing dad. And on top of that, he has had experiences of leaving his body with health issues and has written a few books that have just helped to bring so much peace to my heart and the hearts of those around me about the afterlife. And here's a little moment as Bob got close to the end of his life. He had a few moments where he left and came back, and he shared with us a little bit of his insights from those experiences, and I hope that it brings peace to you for your loved ones that are passing, or anyone that you know in your life who's going through the same challenges. So please enjoy a little wisdom from my friend Bob.
You know what to expect.
Right.
You expect the black space. You expect the light that's going to appear, and you expect this stuff that's going to go on, and so you're not impatient about it. The weird thing is, though, you may feel like you're in a tunnel and you want to reach out and touch the wall, and then you notice you don't have any body parts.
You're just
That's
floating
kind of
through,
weird.
floating on your way to heaven, yeah.
All that's there is your consciousness. That's all you ever have anyway. And in order to exist in the earthly environment, you have to have a body. It's required. And then the consciousness resides in the body. But the consciousness never dies. I'll be cremated and my ashes tossed off of the property. And that's got to be good enough for everybody.
Bob was actually one of my early investors years ago in one of my projects when I started out the Passionate Living brand, and just always supported young filmmakers, young artists, and he just did so much to inspire people's lives. No matter how down things might have seemed in a day, Bob always had an optimistic view. Thanks for taking a moment to share this wonderful person with me. It means so much to share the lights of all of the people that we highlight on this show who are living their passions and using them to make a profound difference in the world around them. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you tuning in, and I truly hope that these stories inspired you. And that is our labor of love here at Passionate Living, is to light you up. Because if you have something inside of you that you've been wanting to do, and you haven't done it, maybe some dream that you want to do, a place that you want to go, a business that you want to start, a charity that you want to volunteer for, helping the neighbor across the street when you felt a little awkward going and offering your help. Whatever it is, I just want to inspire you today to take a step in that direction, because we are here for a limited time on this wonderful ride on planet Earth, and we are only limited by our thoughts. So let your imagination open up. Find people with experience, if you don't have it yourself, that can give you a little guidance. And remember to go and watch a library of our shows and see if there's something in there that somebody's already done in front of you that might make a difference in your life as you move forward in living your dreams and your passions. So thank you, and the way you can support us to keep this show out there and to keep these positive stories coming is to go to our social media. We're on YouTube. We do a live stream every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we also are on TikTok at Cat's Passions. We have a lot of fun stories there. Instagram at passionate.living, and Facebook at Passionate Living. And you can also reach me at kat@passionateliving.com, because if you have ideas or stories for us, please share us. We'd love to bring them to the audience, because you might be that person that lights up another viewer who's been thinking about doing something that you've already done. So please share your stories with us. We thank you again, and I send you much love, and until next week, remember to live passionately. Thank you so much for watching today. Remember to press like, comment, and subscribe. And if you really love us supporting what we're doing, become a member, and we'll give you some great behind-the-scenes stuff that nobody else gets to see. And also, continue your exploration of passionate living by watching one of these awesome videos. Thanks again.